In Europe, tensions have boiled over, giving rise to hate crimes and public hostilities. Reason? The ripple effects of the deadly conflicts between Israel and Gaza are being felt around the world. While Europe's leaders have presented a united front in support of Israel's right to respond to Hamas's aggression, their citizens are divided. Right after the war in Gaza started economists wondering how it would affect nearby economies. In Europe, memories of the 1973 oil crisis were revoked when Arab countries reduced oil exports to nations supporting Israel. Europeans still remember the images of empty highways. Now, a month into the Gaza war, analysts think differently. They don't predict big economic problems for Europe if the war doesn't spread and the escalation is stopped. But what if it doesn't? Stefan Silverman, who leads the campaign against anti-Semitism, has been looking into and reporting hate crimes in the UK for 9 years. He says the last 3 weeks are completely different from anything he has seen before. The British Jewish community is more alarmed and fearful than I have ever known it, Mr. Silverman told the ABC. The UK Metropolitan Police stated there were 218 hate crimes against Jewish people from October 1st to 18, a 1,353% increase compared to the same time last year. In London, Jewish schools and places of worship have been marked with red paint since the conflict intensified on October 7th. Instances of Islamophobic incidents have gone up as well, with the Met recording 101 offenses in the same period, compared to 42 last year at this time. The UK-based Measuring Anti-Muslim Attacks, MAMA, has noted various forms of abuse, including assaults, vandalism, threats, and online abuse. For example, in one case reported to Mama, a man harassed a Muslim woman in the street, shouting Hamas terrorist. Similar trends have been observed in Germany, where the Federal Association of Departments for Research and Information on Anti-Semitism recorded 202 incidents from October 7th through the 15th, marking a 240% increase compared to the same week last year. In Berlin, the Star of David has been painted on the doors of Jewish homes, reminiscent of Nazi wartime practices, and synagogues have been targeted in firebomb attacks. In France, police have received reports of thousands of anti-Semitic incidents, leading to over 300 arrests. In the Netherlands, several Israeli flags have been stolen and set on fire. Mr. Silverman described the situation as a deadly, depraved, barbaric assault on Jews, accompanied by a surge in anti-Semitic feelings on the street. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has called the increase in anti-Semitism sickening, and Germany's President Frank-Walter Steinmeier expressed outrage over incidents in Berlin. Police throughout Europe are on high alert due to concerns that the conflict in the Middle East could heighten security threats abroad. During a meeting of European Union leaders, European Council President Charles Michel cautioned about major security consequences that could worsen tensions between communities and fuel extremism. The MTV Europe Music Awards, scheduled for November in Paris, have been cancelled due to the volatility of world events. Organizers explained that they called off the event out of an abundance of caution for the thousands of employees, crew members, artists, fans, and parents who travel from all corners of the world to bring the show to life. In response to a series of hoax bomb threats affecting public buildings, schools, and airports in France, Germany, and the UK, at least 18 individuals have been arrested. Simultaneously, European Union leaders pledged to strengthen their borders following the stabbing of a school teacher in the French city of Arras and the shooting deaths of 2 Swedish football fans, incidents being treated as a terrorist attack by Brussels police. While these killings haven't been directly linked to the Israel-Gaza conflict, security experts warned the West's backing of Israel may motivate extremists. The humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip has raised concerns about potential refugee movements from Gaza to Europe. In response, the EU is considering a migration deal with Egypt, which had already been under discussion, following similar agreements with Turkey and Tunisia. A senior EU diplomat told the US newspaper Politico that supporting Egypt is crucial to prevent migration from North Africa and address the public influx of refugees from Gaza. There is also recognition of the challenges related to recruitment programs for skilled workers, especially in sectors like health, leading to brain drain from sending countries. With the European economies facing decline and a shortage of necessary workforce, competition for resources may intensify, potentially fueling racism. In many European countries, right-wing parties and anti-migrant Semitisms are on the rise, prompting calls for stricter migration control. Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has highlighted on the cover of the news magazine Der Spiegel recently stated, "We will deport on a large scale," referring to reforms and reparations in Germany. Concurrently, the reform of the Common European Asylum System, CEAS, is underway, drawing criticism from human rights organizations for being a significant reduction in migrant rights. According to the health ministry in Gaza, which is run by Hamas, more than 6,000 Palestinians have lost their lives. Israel reports that at least 1,400 of its citizens have been killed, mostly during the initial assaults on October 7th. Tragically, over 200 people, including foreign nationals, are still being held hostage. In Western Europe, Germany and France, home to the largest Jewish and Muslim populations, are dealing with the public disorder by banning demonstrations organized by pro-Palestinian groups. In Berlin, an unauthorized demonstration led to 174 people being arrested in clashes with German police. Hungary, Austria, and Switzerland have also restricted rallies supporting the Palestinian cause. Amnesty International has criticized these countries for imposing preemptive and blanket bans on protests, suggesting that these actions may unintentionally escalate hostilities. Surprisingly, in October, inflation in the Eurozone decreased to 2.9%, according to estimates from the European Statistical Office, Eurostat. In Germany, inflation slowed to 3 to 3.8% in October, depending on the calculation method, with an expected average of 6.1 for 2023, projected to decrease to 2.6% in 2024. The current inflation in Europe is attributed to trade disruptions, influenced by factors such as the Ukraine war and Western sanctions against Russia. The prolonged and deeper than expected effects of the COVID pandemic also contribute to this inflation. According to Bassem Snage, a consultant and economist at Paris Sciences Po, he emphasizes that this inflation is not solely due to changes in oil prices. Additionally, Snage notes that while increases in oil prices can impact inflation, it doesn't automatically lead to inflation. Also, currently, LNG exports from Egypt to Europe have decreased due to the war. An analyst from the Oxford Institute for Energy Studies mentioned that Egypt's LNG exports are expected to stay low or even zero over the winter. Hoffman raises an important question about gas reserves off the Gaza Strip coast, legally belonging to Palestine. Snage adds that Europe's shift away from Russia could heighten tensions over gas reserves in the East Mediterranean, potentially leading to future conflicts. Well, in a world shaped by geopolitical events, trade disruptions, and the lingering effects of a global pandemic, how do you think the economic landscape will evolve in the coming years? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring the notification bell to stay in the loop.